Hey, it's Brandon with Obsessed RC. I don't know how to edit yet. I'm still learning. So I put together a PowerPoint presentation of all the vehicles that I've owned this year in 2020. I got into the hobby in January, got my first truck, which was an Arma Granite, and I've just kind of went from there. And I've got about 12 vehicles to show you what I've had. They're not in any kind of order. Um, I'll tell you which ones I like, which ones I don't like, but and at the end, I'm gonna give my contact info if anyone wants to give me any tips on editing, any suggestions on programs that I should be using. I've downloaded a couple, but they're pretty hard to understand for a beginner. So first one I have on here is the Arma Infraction 6S V1. Awesome truck. It's got the 6S power plant that all the 6S vehicles has. This one's a little different though. Comes with belted tires and it actually has the DX2E transmitter with AVC. So it has a gyro in it. Um, Capable of going about 60 miles per hour plus out of the box. I've never got mine above 60, but some other guys change up the gearing and stuff like that. I took mine drag racing. I had a great time with it. There was actually a time where 3 or 4 months where no one could get any of them. They were back ordered. So I actually got on the Arma forum and found a guy that was selling a brand new one in Missouri. I'm from Omaha, so I took a little road trip down there. I got a brand new one with 2 sets of tires and motor fans on it. He had never even put it on the ground. I drove it for a while. I loved it. I was kind of limited to what I could do with it at the time, so I ended up selling it. I did have two ESCs go out on me using the included speed pinion, but that was the older style ESCs. So, I learned my lesson. I don't go that tall anymore. I think it was a 21 tooth pinion. I think the new ESCs you wouldn't have any problems, but it's an awesome truck. Um, the next truck, the Arma Mojave 6S V1, that is one of my favorite vehicles. That is one of the vehicles that I currently have right now. Same 6S power plant, 17 mil hex wheels. I actually trimmed my body up a little bit and I put some big 17 mil hex terrain crushers on mine. If you've seen any of my videos, really, really cool looking truck. It's my favorite vehicle I have right now. You can get it brand new with the V2 with all the upgraded electronics for $649. I actually took a road trip to Sioux City, Iowa, and I picked mine up for about $425. So I then went and got a brand new one on Black Friday for $399. So I sold my buddy the other Mojave, and he's got it right now. He loves it. So the next vehicle on the list is another one that I have right now, the Arma Talion 6S V4. Same 6S power plant. All the 6S have the same motor and ESC. It's got some 17 mil Qatar wheels on it. This is the V4, so it had the center chassis brace, same servo, everything. It's my other favorite vehicle. This is my second favorite vehicle. The first is the Mojave. I've got the Talion. If you've seen my videos, I've got an 18 tooth pinion in it. I did 55 miles per hour with those big sweeps terrain crusher wheels that I have on there. I love it. I was doing huge backflips with it yesterday at my local dirt track. I was launching it 20 feet in the air, and it's all stock. All I broke was one shock end. So, other than that, I love it. Actually, I did rip my wing off, but I just need to get some longer screws. I was using some smaller screws, but I love it. You can get the I don't know if they made a V5, but if they did, I think it's 549. Comes with all the upgraded electronics. But this and the Mojave, I highly suggest. I love them. I had the Creighton 6S V4. I had that before that I had the Talion. At the time, it was a little too big for me. I had my Creighton 4S and I loved that vehicle. And I really wanted the infraction. So I ended up selling this. But It was an awesome vehicle. I really like the Talion a lot more. The Talion sits lower. I think it's a little wider. It doesn't roll over as much as this. Not that this rolls over a lot, but I really like the Talion. But either of these two trucks, the Kraton and the Talion, are pretty much the same thing. There's a little bit of differences. They did have a V5 update that came out with all new Spectrum Firma Smart ESC Smart Motor. It's got a new Spectrum servo. It's got some rigid grooves in the chassis that strengthen it. It's got a rear brace rear chassis brace that's strengthened. It's got rear shock towers that are a little different. Um, it's got some other little differences on the V5, but I really suggest either that or the Talion or the Mojave. I loved these vehicles. I had this truck for a couple months and sold it. The Arma Typhon 6S. You can do a lot with this truck. It's got the same power plant as all the other 6S vehicles. Comes with 17 mil hexes. This one has the chassis brace because it was like the V4 update, I believe. I bought this truck brand new. I waited till they came back in stock. At the time, I had really wanted the infraction, so I ended up buying this and stretching it. I got the Kraton chassis brace or chassis, and then I got some 5 mil extenders and extended the body. It turned out really cool. It was a beast when it was stretched. It would drift. It would do all kinds of stuff. I took it drag racing. I put some foam tires on it. It was a fun vehicle. You could also, since it's 17 mil hex, a lot of guys, they trugify them. They put big, sometimes they extend the arms a little bit, but a lot of guys just put big off-road wheels on those and they launch them 30, 40 feet in the air. I've seen RC Dude 81 and Rich Duper Bash just beat the holy crap out of these vehicles. I know that a lot of guys do speed runs and break 140, 150 mile per hour with them. You can do a lot with that chassis. You can do a lot with, not chassis, you can do a lot with that vehicle, just stretching them, stuff like that. A lot of guys leave them just plain stock, just like that, and put some hoons on there. But I really would give that a yes on my list. I loved it. I ended up selling it so I could get the infraction just because I wanted a drift vehicle, but it was a fun vehicle. I had the Kraton 4S. I've had 3 of them. I loved them. The only complaint that I have is that they're plastic, so if you're rough on them, they'll crack the chassis. But I mean, it's like $30 to go get a new chassis. It's like $16 actually to get a new chassis, and then just tediously switch them all over. But it's got a 2400 kV brushless motor, sports 2 to 4S, 120 amp ESC, 15 kg servo, so it's got the same servo as the 6S vehicles. It's got a 17 mil hex, but it's different. It's not like the round bolts that are on the 6S trucks. It's a little bit different. It's a smaller nut that's got like a washer built onto it, but it's still 17. I put different wheels on there. I put some Power Hobby Raptor wheels on there, and I loved this truck. This is probably one of my favorite RCs that I've had. The Mojave and the 6S are a lot better, but when you're on a budget for $399, you could do a lot with this vehicle. I mean, you could launch it in the air. It's fast. It's actually really quick. It just takes off. Top speed's only like 50 something miles per hour, but it gets up and goes. But I did have some problems with the drive shafts. I did a lot of backflips and stuff off the curb, just stupid stuff. And after a while, the little dog bones or whatever you call them, the little drive shafts, they weaken and they pop off. And it was just really annoying. But I would really recommend that once they come back in stock. I know they're back ordered right now. They're bringing them back the beginning of next year or something. I don't know. They're supposed to be having an update, so I think this is cool. I've always wanted to get one of these and put it on 6S. But then a vehicle that I did not like, the Arma Outcast 4S. It's got the center chassis brace. It's got the 6S servo, 120 amp ESC, 2400 kV brushless motor. So it sports 2 to 4S. It's got some really cool wheels and tires. These are about the coolest ready to run wheels that I've seen on an off-road vehicle. They're called backflips. Um, the reason why I don't like this vehicle, a lot of people do, but a lot of people like to go to the skate park. A lot of people like to send this off ramps and stuff. If you're just general bashing on flat ground and on the street, it will not stay on the ground. It just wheelies. It just comes up off the ground and will not stay back down. It's very, very annoying. So for me, I couldn't do any high speed runs or anything or keep up with any of my friends. It just wants to wheelie and flip over on its back. So I didn't like it. Like I said, if you're a dedicated stunt basher and you love to do triple backflips and stuff like that, this would be a cool vehicle for you. But for me, I didn't like it so much. Uh, One vehicle I did like, I only had it for a month, but I bought the Arma Big Rock 3S V3. It's got a bunch of new updates. It's got the smart, stuttering. Spectrum Firma 360, 3660, 3200 kV brushless motor, 2 to 3S. I know that this motor stock will handle 4 and 6S. Uh, I've seen guys run on 6S. I ran the stock motor on 4S. I just got the 4S ESC. Then it comes with the Spectrum Firma 100 amp ESC. Comes with a Spectrum 9 kg servo. It's a modular design. It's a lot more rigid. I think in total it's 14 inches wide. So it's like a whole inch or two wider than the previous model, the blue one. I love these wheels. Those wheels really grip the road very well and they grip off-road. It's a light truck. It's all black. It's really cool looking. I mean, stock as it sits, it does 50 miles per hour. I put mine on 4S, and it was a little much for how light it is. It was just making it wheelie way too much. But I ended up selling it to a guy and he's got it. Actually, he gave it to his buddy. They really enjoyed the truck. But I had no complaints. I literally had it for 1 month, 30 days. It was probably the shortest time I bought it brand new. I bought some belted wheels for it. I did some cool stuff with the truck. I really liked it. But right now I think it's back ordered, so I don't even think you can get it. I think that if you're looking at a 3S vehicle, I would say this over the Granite, over the 3S Typhon, 100%. So, then the next one, this was the first. Sorry, the picture's pretty blurry. That's not the focus or anything. I couldn't find a good picture of it. This, I would say, was my first RC car. I actually got the 550 Mega because the guy at Hobbytown, I just told him how much I had. He just suggested I get the 550 Mega. I didn't know the difference between brushless and brushed motors at the time. So, I drove it for like a month, if that, 2-3 weeks, and then just went back and got the 3S version. And holy cow, it was a rocket. This truck is real fun. It's a short wheelbase. It'll do all your flips, but it'll wheelie up the parking lot, but it keeps up with the Big Rock. The Big Rock's a little wider and more stable, so this will flip over a lot. The body will wear out, but if you've got a kid, and you're looking to just get something, or yourself, and you're looking for your first RC, this is, I think, if you're looking at Arma stuff, this is probably the most fun you can have. Because, it's not a buggy, it's taller, you can get over stuff, you can do flips with it, it's durable. I never really broke anything on it. So, but yeah, I really liked it. You can get it for $299. You can get the V3 with the updated electronics and stuff like that. Um, Getting close to the end, I promise. I know we're approaching 15 minutes, but I'm not off on any tangents or anything like I usually get on. The Arrma Typhon 3S. I had this vehicle. I liked it. You know, it was my first buggy that I had. It's an 8 scale. You know, it'll do 50 miles per hour. But I was used to the trucks. You know, I was used to the 3S and the 4S trucks. And I got this and it was fast, but it doesn't wheelie or anything. Obviously, it's a buggy. It's not supposed to wheelie. I'm sure you could make it wheelie if you put it in a bigger power system in it. But, you know, it didn't jump like the other ones did. I don't think this would be compared to, like, you know, your regular two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive dirt racing buggy. I really don't think this is like that. I think it's just a general bashing buggy. I don't think it performs like one of those racing buggies at all. It was just kind of clunky, hard to turn, stuff like that. I know a lot of guys get them and then they make them real fast. They put 6S motors in them and stuff. But to me, I would just buy the 6S. You know, there's really no point. I don't hate this vehicle, but the first time I sent it off a small kicker ramp, it actually hit a tree and busted the shock mount. So, and then they were back ordered. You couldn't get them, so I had to glue it back together. So that wasn't very cool. But they come with 17 mil hex wheels. You can put DeBoots hoons on them. You can do some cool stuff with them. I've seen guys that really like these vehicles. For me, I wouldn't recommend it. But okay, now we're getting into Traxxas. I'm a super Arrma fanboy. I've had Arrmas the whole entirety of me having vehicles. I just showed you I've had like 10 or more. So then I wanted a small vehicle. I just, you know, if I've never drove something, I'm looking online and I see videos of guys driving these small cars and I was like, "Oh, that looks fun. That thing's doing some cool flips at the skate park, stuff like that." I thought maybe this would be fun. Now maybe a 1/16 scale vehicle would be fun, but the way that the e-Revo's suspension is, I hate the suspension. I'm used to driving these tight suspension vehicles that can do wheelies, take corners real well. Something about the e-Revo, the way it articulates, maybe it's real good for off-roading. It's like a moon landing vehicle, you know, it soaks up all the jumps and bumps and stuff like that. Well, I ended up getting this and I literally drove it for an hour. No, not even that. I drove it like 2 times and bought it brand new. You couldn't get them anywhere. So they were all sold out. I put it right back online. A guy came, drove 40 minutes, and bought it. So I literally had the vehicle for 2 hours. They come with a 4,000 kV brushless motor. They come with a nickel metal hydride battery and a 12-volt car charger. Come with a TQR radio system with TSM, so it's got a gyro in it. It can support up to 3S, and if you change the gearing, it'll go 50 mile per hour. I can't see that thing going 50 mile per hour. I just would, you know, you take one turn and it flips 5,000 times and you'll break something, but was not the vehicle for me. And leads us to our last one. I don't know why. I should have learned when I got that little e-Revo that I didn't like the way it drove. I wanted to give Traxxas a chance and thought maybe a 6S vehicle would be fun. I couldn't decide what else to get. You know, this was before I got my Mojave. And a guy wanted to trade for the Big Rock. So I ended up trading my Big Rock, which I enjoyed my Big Rock. I just wanted to move on to the next vehicle. I had planned on selling that and getting a Mojave or something like that. But the guy said he would trade me for the e-Revo. It comes with a 2200 kV 4 to 6S brushless motor, VXL 6S ESC, the TQI radio system with TSM, so it's got a gyro, 17 mil hex wheels. They come with 2 steering servos, so that was a pain in the butt because neither of mine worked, so I had to get that figured out. And then it's got rollover assist. This little notch, it will roll itself back over. I should have learned. I didn't like the way the 1/16 scale handled, but I ended up trading with the guy, and I ended up getting it running once I got the servos figured out. And I just couldn't stand the way that the car goes back and forth. I mean, you hammer on the gas on my Talion or on any other car, and it'll go in a straight line and do a wheelie. This thing just veers off to the right or left or rolls over, or it just wasn't the vehicle for me. So once I got the servos and everything fixed back up, I ended up selling it to a guy down in Kansas City. Um, I think he's pretty happy with it. I haven't heard back from him. It was a nice truck. The build quality is nice. It's kind of cool. They do have two servos, but if one goes out, you can't run on one, so you got to have two in there because neither of mine worked, and the guy I got it from gave me a servo. I put one in there and it had no power, so I had to order another one to put two in there. So it's pretty interesting how it runs like that with two servos, and most vehicles that size run with one. But if you're looking for something off-road and you want to get out there and go through a big field with a bunch of rocks and stuff like that, this would be a cool vehicle. But if you're looking to take something around the track, do some tight steering, do some wheelies, this is not the vehicle for you. But anyways, if you've sat through this whole entire video and you want to help me out, I'm really struggling with learning how to edit my videos. I know that if I figure it out, I could bring a different edge, different, appeal to my YouTube channel. I could do some cool things on there. My contact information, if you have any ideas for me or any advice, or just if you have any experience editing or anything like that, you want to give me some pointers, my Facebook is Thelen, Thelen, Brandon, Brandon. So it's my last name first. That's my instant messenger. You can get a hold of me on Messenger, or my email is Brandon, Brandonlee, Thelen, Brandon Lee Thelen, Thelen, at gmail.com. So if you want to message me and give me some pointers or tell me some YouTube videos to watch, I downloaded a couple different programs for editing. I'll show you which ones they are here. And I just have had some trouble with them. There's this one called Lightworks. Very, very complicated software. I couldn't figure out anything. Then this OpenShot, I figured out how to OpenShot video editor. I figured out how to edit my videos, but I don't know how to save the final draft. So, anyways, it's Brandon with Obsessed RC. I got like 1 million computers I gotta sell on Marketplace. I appreciate it. There's some insight into the vehicles that I've had this year. So I hope you guys have a happy holidays, and I hope everyone enjoys their time off from school, or enjoy time with family and stuff like that. Thanks.